How y'all doing? Y'all alright? Cool. So yeah, I'm trying to do a little bit of stonewashing, and figured I'd kind of take you along for my journey. This isn't the first time that I've done some of them, but yeah, just kind of show you kind of what's going on here. The three knives that I am working on doing the stonewashing for are these. They're all three of them are TwoSuns. We got the 301 right here with the yeah, there we go. With the micarta and the carbon fiber there. We got the 283. This is the one that has the brass inserts here. And then we got the CM Designs. I think this is the 319. And yeah, that's the one with the carbon fiber. But yeah, I've basically pulled all of these guys out of their knives. All the other hardware for the knife I've kind of individually sectioned out into these little guys. That's just a little nice thing to hold them in so you don't mix up any screw lengths or something like that. And on these two, I had to remove the thumb studs. Some are easier than others, but yeah, I mean, generally a pair of pliers, twist it in, the correct way, lefty-loosey, to loosen them up, and there they go. So, yeah. Now, I've kind of done these once already, and I'll kind of walk over kind of a little bit of what kind of happened here. This one has, it's not too bad as far as the stonewashing goes on it. And as well as this one, it's okay. So the first thing I did was just, dull the blade up. It's going to happen anyway. I just would rather not have, knife marks on the inside of my rock tumbler sort of thing here. So I just drug it across a fine ceramic rod a couple of times, and yep, that's all it takes. So the first thing that I did with these was just toss them in. And something that I've noticed a little bit with TwoSuns 14C28N, which, coincidentally all three of these are, a lot of times when they do their satins on these, they're actually fairly deep. So when I did the tumbling the first time, I got some stone washing, but I could still see all the vertical streaks from the satin because it's a little bit deeper than some of their other stuff. Like their D2, they tend to do a little bit less than that, but oh well. So keeping that in mind, I have unlatch it from the carabiner. I got myself my little Dremel tool, and yeah, these little discs. These are all Scotch Brite. I have them in quite a few different grades, from looks like what I have labeled here, 120 to 500 grit. And yeah, just kind of on the areas here, just kind of went around them and doing a little bit more random kind of directions on there, just because I'm looking to not have something very uniform. At one point, I had just done straight vertical, and it almost kind of looked like a horizontal, but it almost kind of looked like a horizontal rubbed finish or something like that. But it wasn't really what I was going for. So I kind of got those into a random pattern. Jeez, that was more difficult to say than I really think it should have been. Then I was able to stick them back in the rock tumbler, tumble them around for a little bit, and then I screwed up again and did something else. This one in particular, I'm actually having a little bit of interesting troubles with this guy, where this one seems to, for whatever reason, work its way down to the bottom and stay there. And I mean, it'll rotate around. So one side gets decently stonewashed, and the other is absolutely untouched. So I'm not fully sure exactly how I'm going to deal with that yet. I'm thinking maybe I could, I don't know, I'm thinking something like a chopstick or something like that, just to add a little bit of length so it won't fully sit flat there. But yeah, so let me walk you through my media that I have. And yeah, this is rocks out of my my backyard. Nothing super special. There are some quartz and some stuff with some mica flakes and whatnot in there, but I'm looking for something that's fairly small, like this piece right here is probably a little large. But yeah, just stuff to tumble with. And I got enough basically to have a few blades in this canister here. And kind of fill it up, I don't know, almost all the way. You want a little bit of room so that the rocks can actually move around and whatnot. Toss the blades in there, a little bit of water. If you are doing something that's a little bit more non-stain forgiving, I haven't had problems doing this with D2, but yeah, if you're doing something like a full carbon steel or M4, K390, anything like that, you probably want to forego the water. You might want to use WD-40 instead. It'll be a little bit more of a pain to kind of clean out afterwards, but it'll prevent rust from happening on your blades. But for most stainless steels, you're pretty much good to go with water. I haven't had any problems yet with any of that. And yeah, you'll go ahead and tumble that for a few hours. That's just kind of up to you, basically, how long you want to do it. I've done it from as little as an hour to almost 8, just because I kind of forgot about it. Something that I'd done for a while, and it really depends on how long you let it go. I've actually used some of this stuff. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically fiberglass tape. It's used a lot in electronics. A lot of times laptops and whatnot will use this as kind of the tape on the inside for holding fans on the heat sinks and blocking airflow and a whole bunch of stuff like that. That's why I ended up having this stuff. But you can pull a little bit of this off and put it basically over this area here to kind of keep that a little bit shielded from the rocks. This does take quite a bit of beating, but it's not indestructible. So if you are going to tumble for more than 2 hours, this stuff's pretty much worthless. So just, keep that in mind. If you want to do something pretty quick, then that might kind of help. And basically that is covering up the path that a blade will end up traveling on that detent ball, just to keep it nice and smooth. I mean, if you don't do that and it does feel just not quite as pretty afterwards, it'll break in pretty quick, especially if it's a ceramic ball rather than a steel ball. But yeah, that's something to keep in mind there. I know Jared Neve a little while ago had mentioned that there is kind of a faster way to speed some of that up, and that is probably using some polishing kind of things here with the Dremel. Probably not Scotch Brite. He has these rubber polishing bits, and that's perfectly fine. I actually have a whole bunch of little felt tips in a whole bunch of different sizes, and you can just use strut compound on it to kind of get a little bit in that same kind of area. And then, yeah, you just kind of work on that track a little bit, polish it out, and that helps out. So, okay, yeah, we got a whole bunch of rocks and whatnot here. So, after that, you do have a decent stonewash pattern sort of thing going on your blades, unless it's a little bit too short like this one. But, yeah, I then have this other media here. This is ceramic media. This stuff is wet at the moment, because I just kind of pulled it out. But, yeah, there you go. I think it's like 1 inch by a ½ inch or something like that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'll go ahead and replace the rocks with that in there and tumble it for just a little bit. I played around a little bit and tumbled it for about 2 hours with these guys, and it kind of polished a lot of the stonewashing look off of the blades. So I would probably suggest, like I usually do with that stuff, 15-20 minutes tops. That just helps bring a little bit of luster back to the knife blades themselves. I don't think it's super necessary, but I have it, so why not? So yeah, as far as the rock tumbler, this one is actually a little bit larger than a lot of the super cheap ones. It's not incredibly expensive either. I think it was maybe $120 or something like that. This brand is Tumblebee. Ooh, I don't really think that matters at all. But yeah, it's a very basic rock tumbler. You got your motorized tumble rod here that actually moves. You got the other one that free spins and supports. You got an on-off switch over here on the back, and then you have a couple of things that will kind of adjust these rods a little bit if it's off center or something like that. That's pretty much it. We got the canister here, which you got the little screw top on here. This one's plastic with a little brass insert, and you got a washer. And the instructions say, and I do this as well, kind of take this washer and then shove it underneath that little edge there and twist to be able to pop that little cap off. And then you got that you can pull out. And inside there, yep, you just got nice. It's a nice high-grade vulcanized rubber. So nice sulfur smell to it. Wonderful stuff. Like a car tire, you know, all that sort of good stuff. But yeah, this one is probably about twice as long or tall as some of the other ones. I think this is a 6 something or other instead of a 3 something or other. I probably should have looked that up a little bit more. I think a lot of them are 3 to 4, and this one's considered 6. I don't remember the exact measurements. I don't know, maybe that's inches tall or something. Inches or quarts or I don't know, whatever. But yep, it's pretty darn simple overall. You slam a whole bunch of stuff in there. Let's see, I could probably try and do that, but it might be a little loud. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of times I'll fill it up about halfway and then stuff the blade down in there. Yeah, it's probably about good. And yeah, you'll throw in, I don't know, a quarter cup of water or whatever like that. Which I don't happen to have here at my desk with me, but that's all right. I can pretend. And if I can do it, you can do it. And then I will tighten the ever-loving crap out of this thing. I generally do it until the screw kind of sticks a little bit proud of it. But yeah, that little kind of plastic groove here sits in there. Then you can go ahead and turn the thing on and it tumbles. It is a little loud. This one in particular, I use basically in my my bathroom down here in the basement because it's you know, easy to muffle a lot of the sounds. It is basically like white or pink noise, so it probably wouldn't bother somebody all that much. And we do definitely have a large garage as well, but somebody actually hangs out there quite a bit, you know, doing work and other such things. So this is just kind of the best way that I kind of figured out how to not bother a whole bunch of people with sounds. That and the master bedroom that they sleep in and whatnot is directly above the garage. So, you know, if I don't have to make noise there, then I won't. But yeah, you can, as you saw with this, a 3 or 4 sized canister will do a pretty darn good job of most size blades. As far as the width of them, I think that's almost a standard between a whole bunch of different companies. So yeah, that's definitely something I need to figure out a little bit more on this 319 here. Just so I don't have to, open it up every 20 minutes and try and flip the blade over to make sure that both sides are actually getting fully treated. But all right. So yeah, this was fun. I will be back basically once I've tumbled these guys for a few hours, so you can kind of see how that ends up working out. So yeah, this is great. I'll be back in a little. Well, you'll see me right back, but it'll be quite a bit later. So yeah, so I've finished kind of tumbling some stuff here, so I figured I would give a little bit of an update. This is one that I've done a little bit previously. This is a TwoSun on 14C28N. It's a Jelly Jerry, which means it's in the 220s of some sort, maybe 222. I don't know. But anyway, this one turned out pretty darn good with the stonewashing. I kind of use that as a showcase of what I end up doing. Or that wasn't very good English, but But yeah, so I do have these 3 guys here, and they're not too bad. But something that I would like to kind of figure out a little bit more is how to get a little bit stronger of a stonewash sort of thing going on. And I'm not really interested in doing an acid wash on anything to make them super dark or anything like that. I do think that it looks good on some knives, but usually that's it also depends on if the handle scales have that similar treatment. A lot of times they'll have like titanium scales or something like that that have also had that acid wash and relief and all that sort of stuff. There's this one as well. And yeah, so what I've kind of done was purchased a different kind of tumbler. This is more of a vibration table kind of thing. And looked for a bit more aggressive ceramic media to try to use rather than just rocks out of my backyard, which they'll work for a few times and then they get nice and smooth and you have to constantly replace those or whatnot. And that's probably why a lot of factories like Zero Tolerance and a whole bunch of other places use ceramic media for their stone washing, and usually they'll use a shake table or something like that for it. So I figured I'd give that a shot, see how that works out. But I've just ordered it. I basically ordered a fairly cheap one from Harbor Freight because, I'm not really tumbling any ammunition cartridges or anything like that, which is usually what a lot of them are for cleaning and tumbling and sorting a lot of different ammunition and all that sort of stuff. I did a lot of this stuff a very long time ago with my dad and my grandpa, who are much more into firearms than I currently am. So yeah, we would do things like build our own bullets, like capping and priming and all that sort of stuff. So I'm familiar with a little bit of it. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But yeah, for a nice kind of a lightish stonewash sort of thing, that's pretty much what you basically get into. Is you'll tumble the blade for it really. It's really up to your preference. I've done it from anywhere from like an hour and a half to 8 hours, whatever. um, and then, yeah, if you want to get just a little tiny bit of luster back, you can tumble it with some finer ceramic media. What I have seen a lot of people do is mention that you should use some nail polish or something like that around these kind of areas here to keep them smooth. And for me, that really hasn't worked. And I think it has to do probably with a little bit more extended period of time where, I mean, I'm wearing a lot of it on my fingers in the past and whatnot. I'm pretty familiar with the fact that, yeah, that stuff's pretty fragile. And if you have something super smooth like that, it doesn't stick to it super great. So, yeah, I mean, for me, it always seemed to chip off. So that really didn't work for me. That's why I ended up trying the ceramic tape sort of thing. And that works as long as you go 1 to 2 hours. Any more than that, and yeah, it just wears itself off, so it really doesn't help. It will actually still stick inside the bearing things there, but that doesn't necessarily help or hinder the action on it. So yeah, just I guess keep that in mind. But yeah, I do want to pursue trying to get a little bit more of a pronounced stonewash on these guys, just because I think it should be fun. So that's what I'll be working on next. So I guess this video is going to take quite a bit longer to actually come out than I had originally thought. But, well, you won't know that until it's actually dropped. So, alrighty, I'll be back in a bit. Alright, yeah, I've been playing around with some stonewashing stuff using the vibratory tumbler instead of the rotary one. Much louder. I'm sure anybody who deals with firearms sort of stuff probably is familiar with that from polishing your brass casings or whatnot. But wow, it's like about 1,000,000 times louder. I did have to relegate that basically out to the garage to run and basically wait for no one else to really be home. It wasn't super terrible inside the house, but still, it was just a little annoying. But yeah, I have 3 knives here. This one is the first one that I kind of want to talk a little bit about here. And this is the 301. I really, really like how this blade turned out for the stonewashing. And to show you how much that it actually hides a bit of scratches and everything like that, you can see there's a whole bunch of them down there. I was playing around with sharpening with the KME afterwards, and of course dinged up the blade a little bit in the process. I don't know exactly what my problem is with that. I do have a little bit of that problem with the Work Sharp Precision Edge as well, but not nearly as much. But yeah, it's very, very good at hiding all of that sort of stuff, which also, would hide any of those kind of micro scratches going on the blade. So yeah, I'm still quite happy with the way this turned out. So that's pretty fantastic there. The other one was this one. What was it? The 283? I think that's it. Yeah, a little long guy with the definite brass inserts. And that guy turned out pretty darn well as well. I do like the more contrast that this sort of thing gets. But you do actually have to be a little bit careful if you are looking for these things. As you can see, I probably haven't done absolute perfect job, probably right around that sort of area there. That has to do a little bit with kind of normalizing what the blade kind of looks like beforehand. Especially with a lot of these TwoSuns, they have their satin finish is actually fairly deep in there. You do have to polish a little bit to get it out. So yeah, that's why I've kind of incorporated a little bit more of the scotch brite. That's the word that I'm looking for them with the with the Dremel tool and all that sort of good stuff. You do actually have to worry about these things a little bit when you're sitting there polishing the blade. It's a rotary tool. It'll heat up on you. Nowhere near as fast as if you're trying to sharpen something on a belt grinder and you don't have any experience with that. But it can get a little warm on you, so you definitely do have to kind of watch that a little bit. But after that, I did try and do a little bit of polishing. This is basically a silicon carbide little strip of 6-micron polishing or lapping film. That's the word I'm looking for. And that helped out a little bit, but it might actually help to get a little bit coarser than that. But yeah, this was the last one that I had worked on that was giving me a little bit of problems. Especially this was kind of the reason why I wanted to invest in the vibratory tumbler, because for my particular rotary tumbler, this thing would work itself down to the bottom of the barrel and stay there, so only one side would ever really get polished. And it was a giant pain in the ass to try to pull that out and do a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, you can see that I probably could have used just a little bit more consistent polishing sort of thing on there if I really wanted to get super, super accurate with it. But it does match pretty well to the stonewashing that was actually on the flats of here. Also on the flats of this particular thing here, that's pretty darn close as well, but not nearly as visible on this knife as it is on this one. But yeah, so that's kind of fun. So I got all of that. What I haven't done with these particular ones here was cover up this whole area here. You really don't need to worry so much about the inside there. Most of the time your tumbling media is really not going to get much in there to do anything to it. But you do have the path that the other word, that thing, that goes around. And that can get a little bit rough if you don't have that patched up. Like I've said in the past, I've opted to use some ceramic tape or something like that, and that works decently well. It didn't work super great over a long time using the rotary tumbler because, you use a little bit of water in there for lubrication and whatnot, and that would end up breaking this stuff down after about an hour and a half or something like that. However, in the vibratory tumbler, for one, the way that most of them are built, you can't really use liquids in there so much. So that part's out. And yeah, to get something of this kind of finish on there, basically took an hour and a half anyway. And yeah, I guess I could have maybe tumbled it just a little bit longer if I really, 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 really cared. But yeah, there's, you can see a couple of those lines there. And that was from me not doing a random enough job with the Scotch Brite to begin with. So yeah, in the future, I will probably try to wrap those things up in some sort of tape or something like that. A lot of people will suggest using, clear nail polish or something like that. I don't have any luck with that, and it's probably because I'm using actual rocks rather than ceramic tumbling media that might be just a little bit more acute and whatnot. So, yeah, I always ended up having problems of, well, it just chipped off anyway, so why the hell did I bother putting it on there and waiting for it to dry and everything? So, yeah, I do like how these things turned out. It was pretty darn good. And, yeah, they can certainly look super, super good. I mean, you can see that those things will catch the light, but only in very, very specific circumstances, whereas otherwise, with the satin blade, if you had something like that, it would just stick out and you would basically just stare at that rather than the rest of the knife. So this works out pretty darn good. I really do like the vibratory tumbler. Wow, is it loud, as I said in the beginning. But, as long as you find the right place or whatnot and times to do it, then works out super great. So, yeah, next up, because I didn't end up wrapping these guys, I am going to end up trying to polish the detent track. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Just so that they're a little bit smoother, because these things, they're still nice and smooth. But, well, let's see if you can hear it here. Yeah, there's just a little bit of, non-smoothness going on there that I could probably take care of using these guys. They're just little felt tip things in the rotary thing. I could use jeweler's rouge or whatnot, or basically strop compound on there to try to polish that up just right around that little area there, and that should help with the action for them. Yeah, if I haven't talked about this one before, I think this is the 319. That's the one from CM Design. This is interesting. I think they also did one fairly similar to this that Kubi made as well. Kind of just a little bit after this one was first released or whatnot. Very kind of similar sort of thing. This one is a little interesting in that it's a titanium but liner lock sort of thing going on here. But, this liner lock, there's that word, I love using it. It's the best thing ever. I'm working on it. I promise I'm at least trying. Speech patterns just gotta happen, and you don't really notice it because, most people, when you're just having a standard conversation with them, don't really bother you about it. So you don't realize that you end up doing that stuff. Oh, well. This thing is really kind of interesting in the way that we have the pivot screw up here, and then we have the back spacer there. That attaches all the way through there, through the back spacer. Come on, buddy. And then, through the back spacer, and then through the liner, and then through this side, and through the clip. So it's kind of very integral to the whole build of that. So that might be something that if you notice that this screw might be coming loose on you, you might want to keep an eye on, because you really don't want to lose that, because that could basically mean that a lot of the rest of the integrity of the knife might fail on you when you're trying to use it there. It's not something I really have a huge concern about. I really haven't had any problems with screws other than a pivot screw coming loose on any of these guys. But something you might want to keep in mind. Cool. So here we are. This is basically what I've ended up with. And all three of these blades are 14C28N. But I have done, in the past, some of theirs in D2. And it basically took about the same amount, because they had around the same Rockwell hardness of 58 to 60, right around in that kind of area. Then, they took about the same amount of time. I don't think I've tried M390 yet. I want to say I'm probably wrong on that, and I've done one, but I can't remember which one, and it would take a long time for me to go through all of them at this point. But, it's a pretty easy process to go about overall. I do like the vibratory tumbler a little bit more. It just seems to get me a little bit more even pattern in a much shorter amount of time. But you can definitely do it with a rotary tumbler. I mean, some people do end up just taking like a large plastic jug, throwing rocks in it, a knife, and some WD-40, wrapping it in a pillow and tossing it in the clothes dryer. Like I said, kind of in the past, most of the time, other people in the house will probably frown on you. Your wife, significant other, whoever else might be in the house that enjoys clean clothes or something like that. Just seems like a very off-center experience. So you're probably going to wear your dryer out. So I don't really necessarily suggest that, especially because the cheaper tumblers, both rotary and vibratory, are probably cheaper than having somebody come out to fix your dryer if it does break on you. So there's at least that. And it's another piece of machinery for you to have fun with. I like to do that with all sorts of stuff. Dremel tool, soldering iron, power station for doing titanium anodization. What else do we got? The ultrasonic cleaner, like all sorts of fun little stuff that, it's just fun to play around with. But all right. Yep, this was basically all I really wanted to talk about was, you can do 14C 28N relatively easily, doing the stonewashing on there. And if you do have something that had like little micro scratches in the blade or something like that, it very, very efficiently takes care of any of that sort of stuff from catching your attention. It might technically still be there, but you probably won't be able to see it unless you hold it at a very specific angle. So, yeah. I do like me some stonewashing. I do wish that a lot more companies would end up doing that rather than satin, which I'm just getting a little kind of bored of in general. Next thing up that I probably do want to try at some point here is, doing a little bit of an acid darkening on one of these things beforehand, so it'll look a little bit more like a working finish, or I guess Kershaw calls it a black wash, but they have that trademark, so nobody else can use that, at least for the moment. But cool. Well, this was a fun little thing. It did take a while for me to do that because I started doing it and then decided that I wanted to get the vibratory tumbler, so I had to wait for that sort of thing to come in and then learn how to efficiently use it and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, this took a little bit longer than I wanted to, but here we are, and I'm happy with the results. So, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. And subscribe.